me. I mean, we're underneath your beautiful beast.
Yeah, it's crazy. Can you believe this is even here?
I was here a month ago, literally standing right here. Well, not just over the fence.
Right.
And you know, you had a tube and a pointy tube, and now you've got this. I mean, how do you do that? Is it just sheer will? Is it everyone that driven about the goal?
I don't know. I think I've learned a lot of lessons about how to make things go fast, and then I've propagated those lessons to the SpaceX team, and there's just like an incredibly talented, hardworking team at SpaceX. Yeah. In fact, at times I think maybe there's too many talented people at SpaceX. We have like, you know, too many talented people that were cornering the market. You know, but there's like this very talented group that works super hard, and just taking the general approach of if a design is taking too long, the design is wrong, and therefore the design must be modified to accelerate progress.
Right.
One of the most fundamental errors made in advanced development is to stick to a design even when it is very complicated, and to not strive to delete parts and processes.
Right.
It's incredibly important. So this is why the switch to steel was because the advanced carbon fiber was taking too long.
Right. Well, and you're definitely not a sunk cost fallacists. You're like,
definitely not.
This is clearly the new path forward, let's hop on it.
Yeah, is it in the future or not? If it's not in the future, who cares?
Yeah, and you did that, I mean, look at last year, Dear Moon. You guys were kind of in that like awkward stage of probably figuring this out right here. You know, you had the carbon fiber mandrel.
We didn't even have the steel. I think we were still on the path. When was the Dear Moon thing?
Almost exactly a year ago.
That was before the change to steel.
Yeah, you guys, I mean, you showed the carbon mandrel and everything, and you're you know, excited about that, but then all of a sudden we see you switch.
I canceled the carbon fiber design in October last year.
Yeah, so just after that.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is that you're the lead engineer. You're literally
literally. This is I was actually at dinner with a friend, and he was like, "Well, who's the chief engineer of SpaceX?" I'm like, "It's me." No, it's like, it's not you. Who is it? Like, look, it's either someone with a very low ego, or I don't know, you know. But you know, that said, you know, what I actually tell a team is like, everyone is a chief engineer. This is extremely important, and that everyone must understand how broadly speaking, all the systems in the vehicle work.
Right.
And so that so you don't have subsystem optimization, because this is naturally what happens. You can see the organizational errors the product errors reflect the organizational errors. So essentially you'll see that there's an interface at this, like if you've got whatever departments you've got, that will be where your interfaces are.
Right.
And then instead of like getting rid of something or questioning the constraints, the one department will design to the constraints of the other department has given them without calling into question those constraints and saying those constraints are wrong. And you should actually take the approach that the constraints that you are given are guaranteed to be some degree wrong. Guaranteed to be some degree wrong. Because the counterpoint would be that they are perfect.
Right, which is never.
You say like, what's the probability that this is the platonic ideal of the perfect part? Zero. Okay, basically. So you could question your constraints. It does not matter if the person handing you those constraints won a Nobel Prize. Even Einstein was wrong some of the time.
Right.
So question your constraints. This is extremely important. And I think another thing that, like, if say like, what are the mistakes that smart engineers make? One of the biggest traps for smart engineers is optimizing a thing that shouldn't exist.
Yeah. So they'll just sit there and spin on that thing that's just like, why do we even have this in the first place?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So because when you go through college, you know, like studying physics and engineering, I studied physics. You have to answer the question that the professor gives you. You don't get to say this is the wrong question.
Right.
But in reality, we have far more degrees. When you're in reality, you have all the degrees of freedom of reality. And so the first thing you should say is this question is wrong.
Yeah. And that's what you said last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of said, like, it took us a long time to frame the question even.
Yes.
Because we didn't necessarily know what it was.
It took ages to frame the question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Douglas Adams, best philosopher ever. Maybe, I think, best book in philosophy ever, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This book is so deep, people don't understand. But like in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the Earth is a giant computer.
Right.
And the Earth, it comes up with the answer 42.
Right. Yep.
And to the question, like, so what's the answer to life, the universe, and everything? Answer is 42, and like they're like, what the hell? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's like, oh, the hard part is the question. The answer is the easy part. You need a much more powerful computer to tell you what the question is.
Right.
And this is true. At the point at which you can properly frame the question, the answer is comparatively easy.
Right.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you. I'm working on a video about aerospikes. It's going to be about an hour-long video on aerospikes, and they're like the rotary engine of rockets. Like the rotary it's advantageous in some ways.
Yeah.
Like a wankle.
Man, I tell
They're
you.
cool, but
I know.
What's your biggest beef on them? Because I'm trying to get as much insight on like why do you think they aren't used? And obviously, I assume you're not ever going to an aerospike for a lot of reasons.
I've internally asked this question so many times. Like, guys, shouldn't we maybe do an aerospike? The challenge. So you can explain to the audience what an aerospike is?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
you're going to be
great.
like the end of this thing. I've already set it all up.
Otherwise, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
So you got to get your combustion efficiency. Like there's really two parts to like when you have a rocket engine, what are you trying to do? You're trying to shoot things out as fast as possible in a straight line.
Yes. Yep. Converting as much thermal and pressure into kinetic energy.
Yes, exactly. So you have your combustion efficiency. So what percentage of max theoretical combustion efficiency are you? And then what's your nozzle efficiency, which is really are you straightening the flow and shooting the molecules out in a straight line so that you go in the other direction?
Yes.
Newton's third law.
Yep.
With a traditional combustion chamber, you can get to a very high combustion efficiency because the molecules are all sort of bouncing around in there. They've got time to combine and do their thing. And then when you sort of choke it through the throat, that gives them sort of more opportunity to combine.
Yep.
So you can, like we think we can probably get to 98.5, hopefully 99% of theoretical combustion efficiency. This is so if God himself came and knitted together the molecules to do 1% better. Okay, maybe 1.5% better. That's very high efficiency.
Because of full flow stage combustion.
Full flow stage combustion, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got a gas-gas interaction. So you've got two hot gases combining.
Yeah.
And with a relatively simple reaction, the only thing that would be simpler would be hydrogen. But you got CH4 and O2. It's pretty simple. You don't have any long chain hydrocarbons. With kerosene, you got the long chains. They got to break down. They got to recombine. It's like total soup.
Yeah.
It's like potluck dinner situation. It's very hard to get high combustion efficiency with kerosene. So when you look at the say like what's the theoretical value of say a LOX kerosene engine as compared to a methane engine, the kerosene actually looks more compelling than it really is because you can't achieve the high combustion efficiency with kerosene that you can with methane. So you actually want to say what is the actual achievable combustion efficiency times the theoretical chemical energy. That's the real number.
Right.
And this is where methane starts to look really good.
Yeah.
It's like very hard to get to like 96% combustion efficiency or even 95% combustion efficiency with kerosene. But with methane, you can get 98 easy, 99 with a little bit of difficulty.
And so you don't think, you're just telling me now, spoiler alert, you're probably never going to see a full flow stage combustion cycle aerospike engine produced by SpaceX.
If somebody can show that we're wrong, that would be great.
Yeah.
If somebody can explain like, wow, there is a way to make your design better, this is a gift.
Right.
I would be like, thank you for this great gift. Wow, this is awesome. It's definitely like the worst thing would be like we want to do some dumb design and stick with our dumb design.
Right.
That would be insane.
Right.
So I would love it if somebody could show how an aerospike is the smart move. In which case, we'll just do an aerospike.
Yeah, just do an aerospike.
Yeah,
There's a reason they haven't been used. Period.
But maybe that reason is not valid, because like there's also hasn't been a methane orbital engine,
right? Or a full flow stage combustion. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's been neither a full flow stage combustion engine that's seen flight, nor has there been a methane engine that's seen flight. Certainly in a rocket scenario, I think there may have been some like little test things, but no actual rockets. So but I'm like very confident CH4 is the right fuel.
Yep.
So maybe Aerospike is right, even though it's not been done before. But you just have to show that your combustion efficiency is not affected, and that you're straightening the flow sufficiently.
Yep. To get your expansion ratio.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And also, if you've got a two-stage rocket, like I think this is the other thing. Like you've got a two-stage rocket where your boost stage is primarily in atmosphere and your upper stage is primarily in vacuum.
Yep.
Then you can specialize for a vacuum nozzle and a sea level nozzle.
Right.
And then you widening the aerospike.
Right.
It's only if you want to try to do single stage reusable, then that's when you start having to reach for the aerospike.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Aerospikes with
All
Elon
right.
Musk.
All
Hey,
right.
thank you so much.
But I would love it if somebody could show hey, you're missing the mark. You could do this different thing, and this would be a better move. That would be thank you, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Hey,
Okay.
thanks for your time
All
again.
right, thanks,
Seriously.
man.
Yeah, pleasure
All right.
meeting you.
The mic get off too?
Oh, yeah, we might need to steal your
Oh,
mic.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I can bill you later.